I'm Colin Nitcher. This is the first recording of theNitch, and I'm excited to give this a shot and see how it goes. Today we're going to cover my morning workout, some sports news from yesterday, my picks for tonight, and a little bit of parenting advice right at the end. Each day I want to go over what I did in the morning or plan to do during the day as far as health and fitness and workout goes. And today was a mobility and recovery kind of a day. I am a little bit taxed from recent lifts, been in a what I consider a strength phase, doing some 5x5 lifting of all your main lifts, big 5 lifts, and just a few accessory movements with that. But last night into this morning, just felt a little bit tired, a little bit sore, and wanted to do some stuff to hopefully stimulate some recovery and feel a little bit better tomorrow for some more lifting. So here's what I worked to do this morning. Started with some jump ropes, and one thing I want to do in this video and this recording is incorporate a little bit of media. So here's me doing a couple jump ropes this morning. I don't know, as proof or as an example of something that I was given a shot. But after that, I want to do a few hangs, some inchworms, some step under bars, a couple farmer's walks, and then a couple mobility type stretches at the end, focusing on a few things that have been, I guess you would say, hurting the most. Don't think I have any injuries right now, but just nursing a few deep sorenesses in a few different places. Those hangs was one of my favorite things to do, is this guy right here, and I figured you guys would enjoy seeing that too. This is a gift that I got from my in-laws for Christmas. Hangs there from the pull-up bar, opens up the hips, and the low to mid back a little bit as well, but that's pretty fun. And then I also did just some hangs from that pull-up bar there as well to open up the back and feel better. I did want to mention that the thing out of all these I probably felt the best today was the step under the bars. And if you look on my rack there, right where I had these set at is where I set the bar across, and then I would just dip under, kind of squat under and slide under the bar, and those felt really good opening up the hips today. The soreness that I'm feeling is in this right hip flexor area, so just to kind of get in there and wiggle into the bar felt really nice, and hopefully that'll start feeling a little bit better tomorrow. But there's a workout for today, and yeah, it was a good one. Glad that I got out there and did that. As far as sports news today, the biggest thing probably obviously going around is the Lebron breaking the points record. And I'm not a huge NBA guy. I'm not too up to speed on all the players and teams and who does what, but definitely one of the biggest headlines that we'll probably hear in the NBA for quite a long time is LeBron passing Kareem's record of 3,833 odd points. So good work, LeBron. I think you're great. I don't really enjoy getting into all of the LeBron MJ discussions, mostly because I don't care that much, and two, because I think it's such a difficult thing to do, and nobody's ever going to be right. I understand why people do it. It'll probably be me with Patrick Mahomes for the rest of my life versus any other and every other quarterback that has or will be good too. One thing about LeBron's thing that I saw that I didn't enjoy that much was how they handled him scoring the point mid-game. You know, you'd expect maybe a timeout and a big cheer from the crowd, and maybe a couple waves from LeBron, and maybe an announcement on the PA. But they felt a little bit weird. They stopped the whole game, and LeBron did a parade around, and everybody came on the court. His family came on the court, and I don't know how long the game was stopped, but it seemed like it had to have been a while. And so I thought that was a little bit weird, and I was happy to see I wasn't the only one that felt that way. This is Barstool Sports on Twitter, talking about the Thunder sitting in the corner, waiting for this interesting ceremony to finish up. But I got a crack out of that on Twitter this morning when I saw they posted that and had a similar sentiment to what I was feeling too. So good job, LeBron. Congratulations. I think that's pretty cool. A record that doesn't get broken very often and probably won't get broken for quite a while again now. Another thing I saw a lot yesterday was Aaron Rodgers was on the Pat McAfee show talking about how he's going to go do some sensory deprivation work, not like a tank, but like a dark room, I suppose, for, he said, 4 days. And he hoped to just do some self-searching and find some clarity on, I'm guessing, a handful of things. One of those he mentioned was whether or not he was going to play football and who he wanted to play for and what that was maybe going to look like next year. And the media just took off with that. And I thought that was just so silly. It's one of the things that bugs me the most about media right now is everybody just takes one little thing that somebody says and makes a huge headline or a big deal out of it, and really the dude's just taking care of himself. And yeah, maybe in an interesting way compared to how you or I would maybe find clarity in who we want to be or what we want to do, but something that some friends of his had done and he wanted to give a shot, and so he was just, that's all he said, and wanted to go give that a shot. So I thought that was silly, and wanted to make a note how media seems to overreact and make such a big headline out of everything today, and that's just ridiculous. Other big football news, obviously it's Super Bowl week, and one thing you should know on this show, I'm a big Chiefs fan, always have been, and always will be. And I was happy to see some reports that all of the Chiefs players have been practicing, I think, all week long, full practice. Obviously not McCole Hardman, he's on the injured reserve now, but they did bring back Edwards-Helaire, and so I'd be curious to see if and how much he touches the ball this weekend after being out for most of the season. I don't remember what week he went out, but a long, long time ago. But encouraging to hear that they're all healthy. I think as a sports fan, that's what you want to see and hear, is that both teams are going to be coming with as full of strength as they could possibly come, because we want to see good football and we want to see players play. So that was good to hear, and very much looking forward to that game. One thing that's interesting this week compared to the AFC and NFC Championship week is both the fan bases have both been quite quiet as far as talking smack or covering different aspects of the game, and I think that's probably because both are a little bit, no, not timid, but conscious, I suppose, of the fact that anything and everything seems to be this sort of fuel now that they call it, or a lot of people are calling it the MJ fuel for pumping up a team. And I like the way Patrick and a few other players have talked about it, where if you need extra stuff right now to pump yourself up for this game, then you've got something wrong. You're on the wrong sport or doing the wrong job. So it's a little silly to think about, but at the same time, any extra edge, you would want any extra edge as a team if you're going to play in such a big game, and it can have such a psychological impact when you know that people are counting you out for something that you really, really want. So interesting that nobody's really talking smack. Nobody's really demanding wins. One thing that I've seen and have heard is that most of the money, I think around 75% of the money and bets, general bets, have been on and for the Eagles, at least according to FanDuel. So pretty interesting. I'm one who thinks it's going to be a good close game. Being a Chiefs fan, last Super Bowl we got crushed, so I think it's easy for Chiefs fans right now to just hope that doesn't happen again, and also not really worried that that's going to happen again. I think the Chiefs have all the pieces right now. I think they're really well coached. They're going to have a good game plan. But I'm also a Chiefs fan who realizes and understands the Eagles are a really good team. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, and very much looking forward to that game this weekend. One thing that I did see was that Dan Orlovsky, I love Dan's content. I think he's a great guy and a very well-spoken analyst. He had a clip saying that he thought Jalen Hurts would want this win more than Patrick would want this win, which I just thought was silly. How can you say that one of those quarterbacks is going to want a win more than another quarterback? It's the Super Bowl. It's the biggest game. Yes, Patrick has been, and he's lost, and he's won. But to say that some new guy, just because he's hungry for credit, is going to want it more, I thought was a little silly. I disagree with that, and I think that both guys are going to probably want it almost equally as bad as one another. So that's enough for the NFL. Basketball headlines yesterday, not too much. I want to talk about the Cats first. I root for the K-State Wildcats, and something that's very interesting about the season this year in men's basketball, at least, that I feel like I've seen that maybe I haven't seen so much in previous years, and maybe I'll see it now that I've paid attention to it. It's just the fact that this thing keeps happening where a team will get whooped or just beat, but sometimes whooped. Like K-State lost to TCU back in January by 14 points. And then last night, TCU shows up to Manhattan and K-State beats them by 21 points. And I just think that's wild because I feel like in the past where if a team had an edge on a team or a conference, they kind of held that edge. Yeah, they lose a game here or there, but man, the ones that you're going to win, you typically win. And so to see a team, both of these teams, go from one end of that spectrum to the other so drastically, I thought was really surprising. But obviously happy that the Cats won and hope that they continue to roll through the season, through the Big 12, and Big 12 tight. I'd be curious to see how, obviously, curious to see how it ends this year. I'm excited and hopeful that the Cats can pull together. A few more teams maybe knock Texas off, and Cats keep winning. They've got a shot at winning it, so that'd be really neat. This is another game that stuck out to me. UConn played really, really well against a high-ranked Marquette team, so I'd be curious to see how deep UConn goes into the season. And Indiana is the other one that I wanted to know, in North Carolina, I suppose. But Indiana had a few tough losses early in the season. I got to see them play at Allen Fieldhouse against KU, and they just did not look good at all. And so seeing them put it together, beating Purdue a few days back, and then putting it together again against a ranked, good Rutgers team, got to feel good as the fan of Indiana, as a kid on the team, coaches, to have some pieces working together really well there. There's another one that stuck out just because North Carolina is such an esteemed program, just having a tough year, getting beat by Wake Forest at Wake Forest yesterday. Have to imagine they're probably done. It's crazy that they scored 60 points in the second half, still lost by 7. But yeah, North Carolina having a tough year. So there's some basketball headlines. Not too much crazy stuff happening, but some good games, some good teams, and some fun things coming up. As far as coming up goes, our parlay partay for the day. I want to make a dashboard for this. I'll do it on corresponding episodes. On future episodes, I'll have something to pop this up on the screen for the parlay partay. In fact, I'm going to make a note right now for myself. Make a on-screen element. As far as betting goes, I think you can bet however you want. I don't think you should bet if it's a problem for you. I think you should always bet responsibly. And one of the ways that I like to bet is with small increments of money on parlays that are more fun to watch for. I love piecing together different elements, and maybe that's common, but I don't know if you feel the same way about betting. But I have 3 teams that I've picked to either cover a money line or a spread. They're all spreads today. But here's my parlay partay for the day. I've got Tennessee covering 9.5, and I'll pull these up. I think Tennessee's playing Vanderbilt. I should have had them pulled up already. Tennessee men's basketball. I'm also going to be pulling up Oklahoma. I know who they play, but we'll pull up the spread. And one last one is going to be Temple. These are all men's basketball games, spreads that I think teams will cover. But we've got Tennessee playing the Vanderbilt Commodores tonight. They're at Vanderbilt. But because of how Tennessee's played a few of these games, and because of how Vanderbilt's lost a few of these games, I've got Tennessee covering the -9.5 spread for part of that parlay partay. The other game I'm looking at is this Oklahoma team at Baylor. Baylor's really good, high ranked, but like the Big 12 and all these teams. I mean, Oklahoma destroyed a 3rd-ranked team or something like that just the other day. Let's see if it'll pop up for me. It was in the SEC Challenge. Who'd they whip? Oh gosh. This is bad for my parlay. I really thought that they just played. Yeah, right here. Okay, no, this is exactly what I was thinking. Destroyed a 3rd-ranked Alabama team. And so I like them a lot to cover a plus 9.5 spread at Baylor. Baylor, again, a good team, good wins as well. Big 12 is so tough, but I really like Oklahoma plus 9.5 there. And then the last one, Temple men's basketball playing SMU. American Conference has just been so-so. Both of these teams have some wins, some losses. Temple's got some big wins, though, over previously ranked 1 Houston team. So they are favored by 2.5 points, and I think they'll cover that at SMU tonight. So that's our parlay partay. We've got Tennessee covering -9.5, Oklahoma covering a plus 9.5 at Baylor, and then Temple covering a -9.5 at SMU. And we'll report back tomorrow on how that parlay partay goes, and we'll keep a record throughout all these episodes as far as how I hit and how I miss in these parlays. Last little note here, I thought you guys would enjoy. My wife asked me to search how to get toddlers to stop throwing things. We've got a 2-year-old who seems to be throwing things. So I did some Googling, and I'm gonna report back with what I found here. First, she needs to understand why they throw things. So if she could just figure that out with our 2-year-old, that would be good. And then she needs to understand it's not personal that my 2-year-old is throwing things. It's not something that my wife should take personally. So I'll tell her, hey, babe, don't take it personally. I'll tell her, hey, you should show her what she should be throwing instead of what she shouldn't throw. She should really discourage that throwing. Let them be emotional. Let our 2-year-old be emotional. Acknowledge those emotions with our 2-year-old. And then teach the 2-year-old to communicate better. Think my wife's going to like that? Just be extra patient, babe. Okay? Just teach her to communicate and be extra patient. Internet says so. I thought that was funny. I think it's good advice. But I was just imagining telling these headlines to my wife and telling her that was the answer to the issue she was having. And yeah, we'll see. I can't imagine it will go too swimmingly. But thank you guys for hanging out today. I really enjoyed recording this first episode of The Niche, and look forward to doing it more. I'm Colin Nitcher. This has been The Niche, your daily look at sports, fitness, and entertainment. And don't forget, life moves quickly, so be sure to enjoy something today. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. See you.